Greetings, NFL fans. Today is January 2nd, 2015. We are broadcasting from the future. That's right, Shutdown Corner Podcast. I am Kevin Kaduk, here with Frank Schwab and Jay Busbee. Fellas, I don't remember Back to the Future 2 line for line. I don't think there was a mention of what was going to happen in the NFL then. Do we know? Is there anything in Biff's Sports Almanac?
I would imagine that the NFL had been completely militarized and was its own occupying army at that point.
I just remember hoverboards. That's all I remember.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure. It seems like Biff would have been his favorite sport, but aside from the Cubs winning the World Series, that's the only kind of real big sports thing I remember.
Beating the Florida team.
The Florida Fish or whatever they were. So hey, it's Wild Card Weekend. We are going to go through all four games that are on tap starting on Saturday. And don't think that these are four throwaway games that don't matter. They don't feature teams that don't matter. This is a crazy stat. Since 2002, when the new playoff format was adopted, 6 teams, 12 Super Bowl titles have been handed out. 6 of those teams were wild card entries. It's crazy.
Wow. It's totally changed. I remember when basically it was a 1980 Oakland Raiders holding that flag, and that was it. And it's totally changed. And that's the thing. You look at these games, and you're like, well, you can cross off the Panthers or the Bengals or whoever.
Yeah.
But every year, it's like, you could have crossed off the 2007 Giants or the 2010 Packers or whoever. It just doesn't happen.
Don't get me wrong. Of these 8 teams, there's probably going to be like 5 that prove themselves to be, that's why they were wild card winners. But there's probably 2 or 3 of them that are going to do very well. But the thing is, we don't really know which 2 or 3 of those teams are right now. We can guess. But if someone makes noise, the Ravens could end up making noise. We're not expecting them. So
the only team I would probably cross off would be, and even it's tough to do, but it would be whoever wins that Arizona Carolina game, because I don't see a 7-8-1 Panthers team making a Super Bowl, but who knows? I don't know. Or the Cardinals with Ryan Lindley or whoever they're going to play quarterback.
Would that be bad news for the NFL if the Panthers do make a long run, or is that good news?
I think it would draw some interest. It would be better if it was like a 7-8-1 Cowboys team, because then you'd have the combination of, and nothing against Charlotte, but a really small market that nobody pays a lot of attention to, and a losing team. So I don't think they would have kind of the same feel good, like if it were the 7-8-1 Jets or something like that, and the East Coast media could really go nuts over it.
It will absolutely kill your plans to completely revamp the playoffs, though. I mean, even if they win this game, they'll.
I know people still bring up
the
the 2010 Seahawks. People still how could you say a losing team shouldn't get into the playoffs? The 2010 Seahawks won a game. Well, who cares? It doesn't matter. It doesn't. One game sample sizes really don't make a lot of sense.
Jameis Winston feels the same way.
Well, let's take a look at all 4 games, game by game. And I guess we probably should just go in chronological order as the schedule dictates. And the first one up is that Cardinals-Panthers game. So, Frank, give me your outlook, and I guess we'll issue some picks on it.
I mean, this is the worst playoff game in a long time, right? I mean, all playoff games are great. I guess they're all like our children, and we all love them equally. But boy, this is a bad playoff game. I hate to say it, because I want to get this was the lock of the century that this was going to be that first Saturday afternoon game that they always stick the worst game in that time slot. It's just a bad game. I'm sorry. I don't buy into the Panthers being all of a sudden back because they beat 4 bad teams in December. This is a team a month ago that was on a 1-8-1 run. They had not won 9 of 10 games.
Yeah, they won. It was 3 months. I did the preview for them yesterday. 3 months from mid-September to mid-December. They won 1 game.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And now everybody's kind of on this bandwagon of, the Panthers are so dangerous. I guess. I mean, if you think the NFC South stunk and you weren't a big fan of the Browns at the end of the year, they beat some bad teams. So I'm not totally sold on them. But the Cardinals, they have the mess at quarterback. They haven't scored more than 20 in a game in forever. It's just a tough game. I don't even really know what to make of it, to be honest.
What's the best case scenario for us as regular fans for that game?
I think just a defensive battle where, I mean, if you like old school football and it's 12-10, and you really enjoy that kind of thing, I don't see how the Cardinals can score more than 17 points. How? They haven't done it against in good situations. How are they going to go on the road against the Panthers, who are playing better, and score more than 17? Unless their defense just really puts them in good positions.
For fans, you're not going to want a 12-10. You're going to want a 56 to 48 game where every play is just an 85-yard breakaway. So
Ryan Lindley throws for like 7 touchdowns. Sure,
yeah, exactly.
Maybe we can get like another Baylor TCU matchup. And just have them wear those uniforms.
You know what I think? Would be interesting, like a storyline wise, is just if Cam Newton has like his signature game, and that could happen. He's been playing better. That would be a fun story of one of the NFL stars who is in this really crazy car accident like 3-4 weeks ago. If he just comes out and just has a Cam Newton game, kind of like Colin Kaepernick had a couple of years ago against the Packers, that could happen, and that would be fun to watch. But I just don't see this game being very, very entertaining, to be honest with you, unless you just really, really enjoy just kind of low-scoring football.
Jay, you're going to be making the ride up to there to cover that. What are you looking for? Just kind of storylines, Cam Newton aside.
Other than Cam Newton, I'm hoping that some player either proposes marriage to a cheerleader on the field, or that some cute and precious kid gets out on the field and runs around. Anything that we could do for page views. No, I was going to say if the cards had fallen right and the Seahawks had been the one in this number 5 spot, if Arizona had been able to hold on, we wouldn't be having these conversations at all about Carolina being a dark horse or anything like that. I think this would be a situation. I think it's only the fact that they've drawn the most favorable possible opponent that there's any talk about the Panthers. And I think that they have a very good chance of winning. But yeah, you're right. It's not a star-laden game. It's not a game where you're going to be marking your calendar. It's kind of it's the morning pizza of football playoff games. You'll eat it because it's there.
And you know what? There are 2 good defenses here. I mean, if you like seriously, if you like defensive football, this Cardinals defense is great. They're really well coached. They blitz all the time. They're fun that way. And the Carolina's got some stars. Luke Kuechly is just a joy to watch. So you really got to be if you're into defensive football, the 2 really fun defenses to watch.
All right, prediction time, Frank.
I gotta take Carolina, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. Like the spread is, I think, 6 or 7 at this point. I'll take the Cardinals to cover, and I would be shocked if they pulled it off if the defense makes big plays. I would really see like a 13-10 type of Panthers win.
Same here. Carolina 17-10.
I'm not going to play the role of devil's advocate. I have to go Panthers. I want to say the Cardinals. I like that story. I feel bad for the fans. I want to see Bruce Arians put together a game plan that stops them there, but like I said, I don't think anyone sees the Cardinals scoring enough points, so I'm going Panthers.
Yeah, you almost have to.
Nightcap, the big rivalry game, Ravens at the Steelers. Today on Friday morning, huge news. It was confirmed that Le'Veon Bell will miss this game because of the injury. So the Steelers go into that game without Bell. They do have the advantage of playing at home, but can they still get it done?
If you were to rank before last Sunday night, I guess, when we really didn't Le'Veon Bell's going to be hurt, the most important playoff players, not counting starting quarterbacks, Le'Veon Bell might have been number 1 just because they don't have anything behind him. They cut LeGarrette Blount because of his tantrum over playing time. And now it's kind of biting him in the behind because they're starting a rookie Josh Harris out of Wake Forest. Dry Archer, another rookie, is going to be behind him. The corpse of Ben Tate is going to be involved in the mix somehow. So it's a huge blow. I still think the Steelers get it done because I don't think the Ravens are really that good. I don't think they're playing that well. I think Roethlisberger can do enough against that secondary but they're going to be one-dimensional, and the Ravens rush the passer really well. So it's a tough matchup, but it's a huge blow not to have Le'Veon Bell, though, just because they just have no depth. That was the one position that they just weren't prepared to replace a guy if he got injured.
Yeah, they were well balanced across the board, and that's why they won 11 games this year. But not having Bell in there is going to force them to go to whatever backup plan that they can come up with out of the backfield. And I'm with you. I still think that Pittsburgh wins this game, but I think it's going to be a lot more nervous and a lot better game than the afternoon one than it otherwise would have been.
Well, it's kind of a shame for Pittsburgh because I think they had finally gotten past that hurdle where for so long we were like, what team is going to show up for the Steelers? The 6-touchdown Big Ben Roethlisberger or the one that lost at home to the Saints and the Buccaneers? And without Bell, I think we're back to that. Which team does show up? And
it's tough.
I think I like the Ravens a little bit more than you do, Frank. I think Flacco has some of the experience that you need. Obviously, he's won a Super Bowl. Forsett has been great, all season in replacement of Ray Rice. So I think you actually had Harbaugh listed pretty high.
He's a great coach.
In your Super Bowl rankings. So I wonder if John Harbaugh just puts together the game plan that they wear him down and kind of eke out maybe like a 2017 victory.
They could. I could see that. I mean, without Bell, it just changes so much. And this is a game that it is a rivalry and all that. I don't know that the Ravens have an answer for Antonio Brown. I don't know if their secondary is good enough to really stop him. But it does. It totally changes the game. The Steelers, we talked at the start about, all the wild card teams that have won and which team playing in this round could really make a run. I thought it was the Steelers. I really did because you look at their offense and it's tremendous. They could score with anybody in dynamic ways, diverse ways. But now, without Bell, it's like, well, could they even get past the Ravens in round one? That's just how much of a difference he makes.
So now, Bell, if they got past this this week and went into the divisional round, what would Bell's status be? Definitely back? Probably back?
I mean, if he's already ruled out, not even doubtful, I don't know that you could put it 100%. I assume they say there's no structural damage. He was riding an exercise bike the other day, and so that it leads you to believe he can at least move a little bit. But I would assume he's back for the Broncos game, they would play at Denver if they won. And that game is on a Sunday. It's a late Sunday game, so he'd have an extra day. I assume he'd be back. And look, if the Steelers win and Le'Veon Bell comes back, and we assume he's close to 100%, I think I'd pick the Steelers to beat the Broncos straight up.
Now, how much of this is the Steelers not wanting Bell to get any further injured, or is that the situation where you put him out, you make him available, but just don't put him out there? I mean, because this is going to be a brutal game no matter how.
Yeah, I guess if you're the Steelers and you can play Bell and he's 75%, do you just roll the dice and say, hey, we're not going to win a Super Bowl without Le'Veon Bell being 100% at some point. We're not going to do him any favors putting him out there at 75%. So do you hold him back? You generally don't think you hold anything back for a playoff game, but you don't want to risk it because you don't want to make it worse. He's a great player, so I think if he could play anything near even 90%, he'd probably be out there. So that probably tells you where he is at this point.
Yeah. All right, prediction time. You going with the Steelers, Frank?
Yeah, I'll go with him still. I just think that they'll get big plays in the passing game against this Ravens team that hasn't been good against the pass. And the Ravens haven't played well. Their last 2 weeks, they lost to Case Keenum, and they were losing in the fourth quarter to Connor Shaw. I mean, well, okay, that doesn't lead me to believe you're a very good team right now. I think that they're struggling in the passing game a little bit. Forsett's slowed down a little bit because he's just never had this workload before. I'll take the Steelers somewhere around 21-14 type of game.
Yeah, I'd like the Steelers too, simply because I'm not sure how much of how well the Ravens could play from behind. Although I would like to see Steve Smith somehow get off some good plays, and I want to see them lose in a controversial fashion so that he has a great post-game interview.
Okay, I'm going with the Ravens. Like I said, I like Harbaugh. I think Flacco gets it done, and I was going to bring up Steve Smith. Steve Smith always seems to have big plays in playoff games, and I think he gets it done. He kind of went off to our own Eric Edholm this week saying he likes being with a franchise that expects to win Super Bowls, which was a just shot across the bow to the team we just discussed that's playing Arizona. So, let me get the Ravens.
No, that's fair. Just because would you pick him if Le'Veon Bell was playing?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So obviously Bell is a game changer. So
he is. You're going from maybe the best back in the NFL to a rookie who I don't even know how many carries Harris has. I mean, it can't be many. He had a nice run on Sunday night after Bell got hurt. But Bell is one of those few NFL backs. If you look at his snap count, it's like he'll play all but like one or two plays every single game. And that just doesn't happen in today's NFL.
Yep. Moving on to Sunday's slate, the early game is the Bengals at the Colts. It always kind of seems like the Bengals always have that first game of the wild card round, but that's not the case with that Cardinals-Panthers. So now they have the early game of the second day, which doesn't matter as much. I'm interested in this game because the Bengals, they've got that playoff jinx. Marv Lewis just can't win. Andy Dalton can't win. I think this is where they get it done.
I'm with you. I like it because, I kind of wrote about this in the picks today and said, this whole, he can't win the big one. Well, everybody has that label until they do it. Like, Michael Jordan had that label, for goodness sake. And he's one of the greatest winners in sports over the last 50 years. I mean, just because you have to be really into the whole, this guy is clutch and this guy's unclutch to believe that the Bengals literally can't win a playoff game. Of course they can. They're a good football team. They made the playoffs 4 straight times. And I'm just not impressed with the Colts. I had them when I do the power rankings every week. I had them really high for a while just because you kind of get hypnotized by Andrew Luck a little bit. He's so fun to watch. He's so good. But when you really look at the surface of the Colts, they can't run the ball at all. They had no running game. Their defense isn't that good. And in their last 9 games, they were 6-0 against non-playoff teams and 0-3 against playoff teams with 3 blowout losses. Their closest game in those 3 was 17 points. I just don't like the Colts that much. I think they're kind of a paper champion. It plays a really, really easy division. I'm with you. I like the Bengals in this game a lot, actually. But then again, we could be sitting here on Tuesday's podcast and bemoaning Marvin Lewis losing another playoff game, too.
Well, you look at the schedule, and the Colts just do not have a statement win the entire time. I mean,
well, the funny thing is, their statement win is over the Bengals. Their statement win is over the Bengals in week 8, I believe it was, when they won 27-0.
Well, I'll play the contrarian then. I'll ride the Andrew Luck train because we've seen what he does in playoffs. We've seen what he can do at the last second. We've seen how he absolutely destroys people with backdoor covers, and I think that he will hold on. And if it were any other team but Cincinnati, I would say no, but I think that he gets it done.
That's really the thing too. It's I guess it sounds like me, Kevin, are going to pick the Bengals. I know I am. And you're at that point you are picking Andy Dalton over Andrew Luck. I mean, it is tough. It's a little shaky to really get behind Andy Dalton in that scenario.
It's really funny too because it's everything's made about the Bengals not winning a playoff game. Well, you'll get a team like the Panthers, right? And if they win tomorrow, Ron Rivera has a playoff win, right? And no one's going to be like, oh, well, that guy's won a playoff. I mean, I guess it will stop people from saying he's never won a playoff game before.
Yeah, well, Marvin Lewis beats the Texans one of those 2 years. Are we, is Marvin Lewis all of a sudden a winner? I don't know.
Frank, do you think the winner of this game could possibly turn into that wild card rep in the Super Bowl, or do you see this?
The scenario would be if Andrew Luck just got really, really hot, and he just carried it. And, hey, he's that good. I mean, but it's hard to picture because probably, and I mean, maybe the Ravens win, but probably this team is going to New England. I don't think they're vulnerable at all. I think they're just ready to pound some team in round 2. They've had Andrew Luck's number forever. They beat the heck out of the Bengals earlier in the year. I just don't see how either of these teams can go to Foxborough. Maybe if one of these teams goes to Denver, because I do think Denver's vulnerable. I don't think they're the same team they've been. I think maybe in that scenario they can advance, but I don't see which of these teams could win at New England.
Yeah, I don't see any team that can win at New England right now.
I could see in a crazy high-scoring game the Pittsburgh Steelers winning at New England
with Bell back.
I mean, their offense is that good that they can. And Antonio Brown gets going, Le'Veon Bell's there, and Ben Roethlisberger has one of his Ben Roethlisberger games, and all of a sudden we're talking about a 31-28 type of Steelers. I could see that. I really could, but it's a very specific scenario there.
Yeah, and maybe we're making a mistake because nothing about this NFL season has been predictable. So, if we sit here, how can we take chalk the entire way and say, oh, it's going to be Seahawks-Patriots? I don't think we can.
What's the most compelling story that could come out of this particular matchup? Because this is not one of your marquee ones, obviously. Anytime the Bengals are involved, sorry, Cincinnati, it becomes a less than marquee matchup. Yeah. But what's the most compelling story that would come out of this one?
It's Andrew Luck. It's hey, oh my God, Andrew Luck just became 1984 Dan Marino, and wow, he's he's one of those guys. He's one of the stars of the league already. He's a joy to watch. If he has, after the wild card round last year, the story was Andrew Luck just dragging that team back from being down 26 or whatever they were down to the Chiefs. Now that was the story of the first weekend last year. He could be the story of the first weekend this year too. Wouldn't surprise me.
I would say the best story we could get is a game-winning drive from either quarterback.
It would be fun to see Andy Dalton kind of throw all the narratives about him into people's faces and, have a 300-yard game and a game-winning drive without A.J. Green. Doesn't look like A.J. Green's going to play. We haven't even mentioned that. But A.J. Green's not going to play. That's a huge blow for them. So I kind of root for Andy Dalton just because I hate when guys who have been good but not necessarily good in the playoffs, like they get so much heat. It's like, well, Andy Dalton's played in 3 playoff games in his life. I mean, are we really drawing a conclusion that he stinks because of 3 games? And one of them was a rookie. Yeah. One of them they barely lost at Houston. Last year they didn't play well at all. But I'd like to see Andy Dalton play.
He stinks when everyone's watching. That's his problem. The games that he's great are at noon on Sunday. It's never on Monday Night Football. It's never on Sunday Night Football.
He does look shaky too. I hate to say because I generally do like Andy Dalton well enough, but even the Broncos game that they won and they looked really good, he just looks like a guy that's lost his confidence. But you know what? I don't think if they beat the Colts, it's not because of Andy Dalton. It's going to be because Jeremy Hill, who's their really, really good rookie running back, he's going to run 30 times for 170 yards. I mean, that's how they're going to win this game.
So suppose that Andy Dalton and Tony Romo meet in the Super Bowl. Does it then become the narrative bowl?
Pretty much, yeah. And I think that for one of these teams to win, a backup quarterback would have to become involved. Brandon Weeden.
All right, so we're going Bengals for Frank and I, and
I'll go. Yeah, I think Bengals win like a 24-20 type of game.
Jay.
Yeah, I'm going Colts, and I think it will be a close, but Andrew Luck comes from behind to win.
Okay. Moving on to the big one, the one that we probably wish we could just fast forward to Sunday midday to watch to cap off the holiday weekend. The Detroit Lions at the Dallas Cowboys, and they will be playing with Ndamukong Suh. I can't say that word ever. I say his name ever.
I say Donkey Kong Suh. Go
Donkey Kong Suh. That's fine. And we talked a little bit about this on our New Year's Eve podcast, but man, what a setting that's going to be. Jerry World all lit up. There's probably be 20 million people watching on TV. Tony Romo starting out his quest for that elusive Super Bowl title championship, but it's not going to be easy. It would have been easier without Suh, but that's not the case. Do you think that the Lions can get to Romo and really disrupt that run game with DeMarco Murray?
I do. They're great against the run. They were 10 yards better than everybody else per game against the run. And the funny thing is, this is the best. I think the best matchup. I think we're all looking forward to this game the most. It's the highest point spread of the 4. It's 7 points. So Vegas doesn't think that this game's going to be the best one. Thinks it's going to be the worst one as far as like being close or whatever. But you do have so many great stories on both sides. A lot of stars and 2 teams that the Lions are still that team that I don't know about, but you just look and you see the talent and you're like, if there's a team that comes out of absolutely nowhere to make a Super Bowl, why not this team? Really? Like, look at the talent they have. Look at the playmakers they have on both sides of the ball. Look at the defense they have. And even for as much heat as Jim Caldwell gets, much criticism as he gets, he was Joe Flacco, the great Joe Flacco run. That was with Jim Caldwell as his offensive coordinator. And after Cam Cameron got fired and Joe Flacco came alive, he went to a Super Bowl with the Colts, and you could give Peyton Manning all the praise you want for that, but he still was the guy there. He still was the coach that got him to the Super Bowl. So I have a tough time picking against the Cowboys because they've been so good, but I can see the Lions winning this game. I really can. They just match up well.
Well, that's the key, though, isn't it, is how well Stafford plays, because it always rides on whether or not we get the good Stafford or the bad Stafford. If he's able to find Megatron or if he's flinging it 20 yards over his head.
And it's, you know what, last week's game really almost disappointed me because I had said weeks and weeks ago that in Winners Losers that the NFC North race was over because there was literally no chance the Lions were going to go to Lambeau and win. But then I was kind of like, well, I kind of want to see something different. I want to see the Detroit Lions come in, and then they fall down 14-0. But then Rodgers is hurt, and the door is wide open for the Detroit Lions. And they just stunk after that. You're losing to and Aaron Rodgers can't really even move around, and you don't even put up a fight. It was not really close. It was for a brief second, but when are they going to win a big game? At some point, you got to do it. You got to win a big game. Matthew Stafford has a really unsightly record against good teams on the road. when are you going to win a big game? I don't know. It's tough for me to predict the Lions go to the
Super Bowl. And they needed to win that because we sit here and say, oh, they could go to the Super Bowl. But to do that, they would have to win in Jerry World. They would have to go to Seattle. Yes. And then
probably Lambeau again.
Probably Lambeau.
Where they haven't won in 23 years. Yeah, it's tough, but you do. I mean, I'm not wrong, right? You look at this roster and you say, oh, my God, Tate and Megatron and Bush and Drake Bell and Stafford and Sue and, oh, my God, they got all this talent. But when is that going to produce a big win?
I just think they're one of those teams, though. It's just kind of they've got a lot of good, solid pieces, but they'll never put it together.
Yeah. And the thing that gets, I mean, the Dallas Cowboys are a really, really good football team. And I know, I'm going to turn off I hate to say this, Kevin, you're going to have to take over for me because I'm turning off the internet if the Cowboys lose. I am avoiding Twitter because it is going to be just an avalanche of Tony Romo haters saying, see, he's a loser. I told you he's a loser. No, I don't know. The Cowboys are a really good football team this year. Really, really good. I mean, they give Jerry Jones credit. He's done a heck of a job putting this team together. They should win, and they probably have a shot at Lambeau next week too. But I don't know. This is a fascinating game.
The thing is, though, that if they do to win this, they don't have to rely just on Romo anymore. They have enough other weapons that it's not all on him the way that it's been the last 8 or 9 years.
Yeah, and that's been Jason Garrett's biggest win this year is saying, you know what, we have Tony Romo, who's a very, very, very good quarterback. I don't care what anybody says. He's obviously very good. He's a franchise guy. He said, you know what, no, we're going to build from the inside out on this, and we have this unbelievable offensive line. We've invested so many first-round picks in it. We're going to run with DeMarco Murray and take more off of Tony Romo's plate. It's not going to be the Tony Romo show. And it's worked to perfection. DeMarco Murray's an unbelievable back. He had a great year, almost 500 more yards than anybody else, and Tony Romo's being more efficient doing less. You could tell he doesn't have to do it all. He doesn't feel like he has to do it all. Just make 3 big plays to Des Bryant, to Terrence Williams, and Jason Witten a game, and you're going to win football games. And everybody's embraced their role. And this Cowboys team, I really respect them. I just wonder because the Lions match up so well.
Yeah, I hope the Cowboys stick around because I do want to see Cowboys at Lambeau or Cowboys at Seattle. It'd be crazy.
I would be interested to see who do we think out of the. Out of these 4 NFC teams, who has a chance to make the longest run? Is it Dallas? If there's going to be an NFC team out of this round, it can't be the Panthers, right?
Yeah, it's got to be Dallas of the 4 right now.
Yeah. I'd be interested to see Lions at Seattle, though. I think that'd be a pretty fun game.
Yeah, I think so, too. Obviously, the Cowboys won at Seattle earlier this year, and they know what to do up there. So, Frank, are you going to pick the Lions? Are you willing to go that far?
At the end of the day, I'll pick the Lions against the spread, and that's about it. I really want to pick the Lions. I really do. Because like I said, they match up so well. And with those playmakers at receiver, they can get things done. But I think at the end of the day, it's a 24-21 type of Dallas just hangs on at the end type of win. But I'm really interested in this game. I think this is a really, really good game.
Yeah, I'm going to take the opposite tack. I think Dallas is going to win as well, but I'm going to take the opposite tack in terms of how it's going to go. I think that Stafford is, once again, this pains me to say as a Bulldog local, but I think he's going to once again fail to come through. Dallas is going to win big.
Yeah, I agree. I think Dallas probably wins by 2 touchdowns. I think that Detroit, like I said, there's just something missing. There's
always has
just some glue they need, and I don't know what the glue is because you look at the team, and they've got this piece here and they've got a piece there, and it doesn't look to be any real big holes, but just something is missing. And
could either of you guys see Matthew Stafford having his breakout game? We're sitting here on Tuesday saying, oh my God, Matthew Stafford finally arrived, 330 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Is that possible, you think?
I don't think so. You don't think he's going to have at least 1 or 2 big interceptions?
Probably. That's just who he is. I mean, he's not very good. He's just not. I mean, people when he threw from, almost 5,000 yards one year, that's great. I think he did maybe throw for 5,000.
Yeah.
But he's just that guy who you watch and you're like, oh God, don't.
So now that you've just tarred and feathered Jake Cutler and everyone's stomping on his grave with you, who's your next quarterback? Is it Stafford you're going to go
I might have to pick Stafford, yeah, especially if he blows up in this game.
Sharpening the blades.
He might have to be next on the list, yeah, because Cutler's just kind of buried at this point. I can't pick at his bones anymore.
Yeah, all right. So we're going Cowboys across the boards. We really haven't done overall picks, but you want to do Super Bowl reps right now? Yeah, Frank.
It's just so tough to pick against the Patriots in Seattle. It just is. How could you? I mean. It never happened. Although last year we had both number one seeds make it. It rarely happens that both number one seeds get through. But I can't see who beats Seattle in Seattle. Maybe Green Bay if Rodgers really is good, but they match up so well against Green Bay that I don't know if that happens. And then New England, who's really beating them? Unless my Steelers prophecy comes true, which I don't think it will, because I don't even know if they can get through this weekend without Le'Veon. I picked the Patriots over Seattle just because I don't know who else beats them, really.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think that I'm picking Seattle over the Patriots. But with both of these teams, you've got to consider that either one of those two teams can have a less than optimal game and beat anybody else in the field, whereas the other teams have to have that perfect game. Everything has to go exactly right in order for them to have a chance. And they're playing on the opposing turf. The lesser seeds are. So yeah, I'm going Seattle over New England straight chalk.
Yeah. The thing to consider with Seattle is they basically have a bye into the NFC Championship game with drawing that winner against
unless the Lions win. Unless the Lions win.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Okay.
So, I mean, if the Lions win, all of a sudden the Packers have that bye into the next round. I mean, really, unless Carolina can just – I don't know how they would do that in Lambeau. But so who's your Super Bowl pick, Kevin?
Yeah, Super Bowl pick. So anyway, I think it's going to be a Seattle-Dallas NFC Championship game, and I think Dallas gets it done. I am casting my lot with the Cowboys, yes. But I think the Patriots, I think they've got the AFC sewed up. Really no flaws there. Belichick, Brady, one last run, and I think they get it done in the Super Bowl. So NFL will be looking at a Super Bowl in a year that started off with Ray Rice and Adrian Peterson is going to end with probably 800 billion people watching it. Cowboys and Patriots. I think it's going to get done. I think it goes that way. So sorry, Cowboys fans, that I'm jumping on your bandwagon. You definitely don't want me on there, but I am. There's nothing you can do about it. I've got a ticket. I'm punching it right now.
Very nice. Let me put it. I want you. Let's take out the number one seeds, and you already have with the Cowboys for one. Mm-hmm. If we just eliminate the number one seeds right now, who would you pick as a Super Bowl? Cowboys, obviously, for you, Kevin. Who else?
The AFC is just so,
Yeah, who do you pick?
I guess, it'd be a lot easier if Bell was healthy.
Right.
Because I just picked against them. I don't know.
Ravens? Would you pick the Ravens if you can't pick the Patriots?
But that's why I asked you the question about the Bengals and Colts. Right? If anyone's going to kind of do it, Bengals have a pretty nice defense. Maybe things just fall the right way for them. Dalton doesn't turn the ball over, just takes care of the ball. Jeremy Hill kind of gets the job done. I'll say Bengals.
Bengals, huh? I'd
Bengals and Cowboys.
I'd probably go Steelers and Packers.
Yeah, I'll go Packers and Broncos. I think the Broncos still have a tiny bit of a spark. If they, for some reason, didn't have to go up to Foxborough, I think that would benefit them hugely.
I won't be surprised if any of the top three NFC teams gets in the Super Bowl. I don't think anyone should be. Yeah.
It would be quite the feat for Dallas to do it. I mean, if they can... Wow.
Oh, who's that?
I knew that was coming. It was me.
The Underdog sponsored part of the show.
Hold on, let me close the door. Hold on.
Yeah, I throw my dog out when it's podcasting time, and he stares at me from the other side of French doors. He's like, "Dude, I thought we had a deal."
I knew she was close to getting home. I was like, "Oh, let's get this wrapped up in the next 2 minutes."
So I'll pick it up.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? We're talking about
Super Bowl's non-number one seeds.
Yeah. What did I say? I said any of the top three seeds. Wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, Dallas. I was talking about Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if Dallas can somehow get this done, it would be quite an accomplishment. If you think about it, they'd have to beat a very good Lions team and then win at Lambeau and probably at Seattle. And if they can get that done, that would be awesome. That would be that. I don't know that too many teams have run that gauntlet before to make the Super Bowl.
No, not at all. And maybe the Panthers go into Lambeau and upset them there, and then they get the home game for the NFC Championship game. It's possible.
Anything's possible. I mean, that's the thing is we sit here and the last so many years, the playoffs have just been so unpredictable. Except last year. Last year we had the number one seeds, but stuff's going to happen that we're just sitting here on Tuesday, the next couple Tuesdays, just being like, wow, I did not see the Arizona Cardinals making the NFC Championship game with Drew Stanton coming back in round 2.
That's not going to. We are not going to be talking about that.
I don't know, man. Arizona's 11-5. I mean, if they can, let's say the Arizona Cardinals win this week, which isn't crazy. I mean, the Panthers aren't a very good football team. Let's say the Cardinals win. The defense creates a bunch of turnovers and all that, and then they get Stanton back, and I don't know.
Drew Stanton in Seattle, really? Come on.
Time to push away from the bar, Frank. I think that you've had enough.
I'm trying to talk myself into it.
All right. Well, we will be here to talk about this every Tuesday and Friday through January and through the Super Bowl. This is the Shutdown Corner Podcast. I'm Kevin Kaduk with Frank Schwab and Jay Busbee. Happy New Year. Enjoy the games this weekend. We will see you soon.